up on Focal Point.
A Larry Nassar survivor has been hired in Meridian Township to develop a sexual assault prevention program, but the legality of it all is in question.
The MSU Board of Trustees and a Larry Nassar survivor clash again.
Coming up on Focal Point, see how an organization called Reclaim MSU is calling for change with the Board of Trustees and the President.
Focal Point starts now.
Even though Luana Simon is out as president at Michigan State, people are still not happy with the university's leadership. Good evening, I'm Caitlin DeLuca.
And I'm Angel Thompson. Michigan State students held a rally this evening calling for the resignation of the Board of Trustees and interim president John Engler. The outcry comes after students have grown dissatisfied with the administration's response to sexual assaults on campus. Focal Point's Ryan Cole joins us now outside the Hanna Administration Building with more on the rally. Ryan?
That's right, we're here live at the Hanna Administration Building following the Rally for Resignations put on by the group Reclaim MSU. There was a much larger crowd earlier, but as the sun has gone down, the group has dissipated. Now, here's some video from earlier on in today's action. Students addressed the crowd throughout the evening asking for the resignations of the MSU Board of Trustees as well as interim president John Engler.
Before I started writing,
now, Engler was confronted last week by Kaylee Lawrence at the Board of Trustees meeting. We caught up with her today to hear her thoughts on President Engler's reaction.
First of all, I wasn't expecting him to be so rude and to cut me off. I think that was very hurtful. And I was just, hoping I could really get across to everybody how Engler really feels. Because apparently he says different things when he's not in front of a camera.
That's right, and the crowd would break into chants of "Time's up" every few minutes here. So it was a very emotional evening here at the Hanna Administration Building. In East Lansing, Ryan Cole, Focal Point News.
Larry Nassar survivor Breanne Randall Gay is not allowing herself to become a victim. Focal Point's Deja Green has more on the story.
Sadly, they took your word instead of mine.
She's a Larry Nassar survivor.
I am here today to tell you I wasn't afraid of you then, and I'm sure as hell not afraid of you now.
Who isn't letting her past get in the way of her life today?
Your power has been taken from you by an army of strong women.
In 2004, Meridian Township Police didn't believe her.
We failed you. We let you down.
Now powered by forgiveness, Breanne Randall Gay is coming back to that very police department in Meridian Township to help with prevention and education in sexual assault claims.
I have a perspective that probably no one else has, and I know exactly what went wrong and what would have helped to make it better.
Meridian Township has offered to pay Breanne $30,000 for her work within the sexual assault prevention program, but her appointment does not go without controversy.
But is it legal for taxpayers to pay for that, since there's never been a court case on this?
The clerk isn't too fond of the manager's decision.
There's nothing that established the rights of who this victim is in terms of what we're responsible for.
Meridian Township manager Frank Walsh believes they couldn't have found a more perfect person.
So there's one person who matches what we're looking for, and that's Breanne Randall. And we're very pleased that she's going to be working with us. This is going to be a positive thing for the community.
The legal details may not be completely settled, but Meridian Township is on a road to recovery. And Breanne,
Hopefully change the future for other victims,
is on the road back to East Lansing. Deja Green, Focal Point News.
Randall Gay is expected to start her work with Meridian Township in the summer.
Another one of Nassar's victims, Kaylee Lawrence, spoke at Michigan State's Board of Trustees meeting. In a statement, she says that interim president John Engler offered to write her a check for $250,000. As she spoke at the meeting, Lawrence was cut short by Engler.
This was much different than Larry. President Engler then tried to back up his statement saying,
time is up. Your time is up. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next is Kat
With the help of the crowd, Lawrence was able to continue speaking.
Sexual assault is a recurring issue this past year on MSU's campus, and now students and faculty are stepping up to prevent this violence and to provide help to survivors. Focal Point's Gabriella Galloway shows us just exactly what they're doing to help.
These days, on a campus known for its green, might be more known for teal.
I think prevention's probably the hardest part of it. Because
MSU grad student Mark Hughes is seeing a lot of teal.
I think that if they keep in the direction they're going and keep using the resources that they currently are, I think they'll be in the right place they need to be in the future.
Sexual assault cases have been common on campus this year. Students and faculty know it's time to act.
I personally know some of the girls that have gone on trial, so I'm really not impressed with what's been going on at MSU for sexual assault prevention and how they handle cases afterwards.
Megan Moss is an assistant professor in human development family studies and has taken a big interest in preventing sexual assault.
So there's a lot of people that are doing really great work here on campus. I think we're not too sure about how effective it is yet.
Along with other professors, Moss recently conducted a survey among over 2,000 students.
And one of the questions that we asked was, how would you describe the climate here on MSU?
Moss thinks professors need to be having these conversations in class.
My class actually came up with a petition of things that they would like done. And one of those things included making human sexuality like a required course.
The university provides a survival guide for students that includes resources, how to report an incident, and definitions of sexual violence terms.
You guys are the change that needs to happen in the world.
In East Lansing, Gabriella Galloway, Focal Point News.
MSU's Safe Place and the Office of Institutional Equity are two places here on campus where victims of sexual assault can turn to for help.
After February's school shooting in Parkland, Florida, 2 Republicans in the Michigan House of Representatives introduced a bill to try and improve safety in schools. Focal Point's Michael Epps brings us the details and how teachers have responded.
It's been a long time.
I can't even count the heartbreaks. I can't count the heartbreaks.
But tender hearts still ache.
It has broken my heart since Columbine. I had high schoolers when that happened.
The Columbine High School massacre in 1999 shocked the nation and sparked a debate over gun control laws.
It's broken my heart at Columbine. It broke my heart at the Sandy Hook. It broke my heart at the A&E Church.
And today, the gun debate continues on its anniversary.
The politicians that are supposed to be taking care of this aren't actually representing me when they should be.
Teachers in Michigan are fighting for school safety.
It's important because we're together. It's solidarity. It's teachers that are fighting for everybody.
Today, members of the Michigan Education Association marched to oppose legislation that could allow guns in schools.
We don't want that. All right, there's a million other ways that we can make our classrooms safe, and putting a gun in a person's hand is not the way to do it.
Under the proposed law, school teachers and officials would have access to guns if a situation arises.
We don't want to be armed. We don't want guns in our public schools, and we want to ensure the safety of every student.
MEA was supported by former Michigan Senator Gretchen Whitmer, who is their recommended candidate for this fall's race for governor.
We can do some common sense things in Michigan to make our schools safer, to make our kids safer, and it is time for action. No more talk and no more phony solutions of putting more guns in schools. That's the opposite.
Among the hundreds of educators, filmmaker Michael Moore stood on the Capitol steps.
Thank you for your service to our country.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your service.
Now an iconic filmmaker, one of Moore's first films examined the causes of the Columbine massacre. And on its anniversary, he has a message.
This is what you're going to see now all over the country. People have had it. They've been silent for too long, and they're not going to be silent anymore. Thanks.
In Lansing, I'm Michael Epps, Focal Point News.
The legislation is expected to be addressed before the summer recess in June.
Local governments will not be allowed to pass breed discrimination laws thanks to a vote in the Michigan State Senate last week. The bill, which now heads to the House, benefits pit bulls especially, a breed that has had a reputation of being overly aggressive. Critics point to the fact that pit bulls are the source of the most fatal dog bites. The director of the Ingham County Animal Control and Shelter said it should be about the individual dog and not the breed.
About 40% of the dogs we get in are pit bull type dogs, and we find homes for the vast majority of them. A lot of them are very sweet dogs, and on the other hand, I've seen Labrador Retrievers, who you think of as being just the friendliest dogs ever. We've had them not pass temperament tests. So it's very much about the individual dog. not necessarily about the breed.
If the bill passes through the House, Michigan will join 20 other states who ban breed discrimination.
It might be a good idea to use caution when ordering your next Uber. Uber faces imposters across the nation who have been posing as drivers for the company. Reports show imposters sticking the Uber decal on their windows, price gouging, robbing passengers, and sexual assault. Local Uber driver David Brown has some advice for customers who use the service.
For anybody who's using Uber, I would always check to make sure that it's the right vehicle that your app says it should be. 2, check the license plate, because the license plate of the driver is going to be displayed in the app. 3, the app should show a picture of the driver and other background information. Verify, 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 and it's okay to ask, who are you here for?
Uber, along with other services such as Lyft, urge customers to always use the app to request a ride. Here are some other tips. Check the license plate before getting in. Ask your driver who they are. And lastly, ride in the back seat of your ride.
One of the 3 big anchor stores at Meridian Mall is going out of business. Yonkers has been around for more than 150 years throughout the Midwest, and all of them are expected to close by late summer. The company plans on liquidating all their assets. Sales are expected to last 10 to 12 weeks.
There's another romaine lettuce scare, and it's affecting restaurants in mid-Michigan. An E. coli outbreak across 16 states has been linked to the lettuce. Other states seriously affected include Pennsylvania, Idaho, New Jersey, and Montana. 53 people since March 13th have come down with the bacteria. 31 people have been hospitalized. Stores in East Lansing, like Tropical Smoothie, Panera, and Fresh Time Market, have had to deal with this recall firsthand.
The only farm that it came out of was out of Arizona. We carry multiple different types of cut romaine in our store. Only one brand was affected, and everything that is hit our store was already pulled from our DC.
The Center for Disease Control recommends that customers stay away from store-bought chopped romaine lettuce, including bagged salad mixes.
Swedish DJ Avicii died today. He was only 28 years old. Most famously known for his singles Lonely Together and Wake Me Up, Avicii was one of the most famous touring DJs in the industry. He quit touring in 2016 after suffering from acute pancreatitis. No official cause of death has been announced. First Lady Barbara Bush died on Tuesday at the age of 92. Saturday's private funeral service will be held at St. Martin's Church in Houston, with the Obama and Clinton families expected to attend. She is only the second person to have a husband and a son occupy the Oval Office, the other being Abigail Adams. Bush's campaign initiatives focused on literacy and civil rights.
The day before she died, I said, "Mom, I just want you to know you've been a fabulous mother and I love you dearly." And she said, "I want you to know that you're my favorite son on the phone."
She was known to push boundaries, most notably when she held a baby diagnosed with HIV in front of the press in an attempt to break the stigma of the disease.
Coming up after the break, we dig into recycling and how off-campus living may restrict students' ability to do so.
Remember vinyls? Well, they're having a comeback. These stories and more after the break.
What makes a Spartan a Spartan? The relentless drive to turn question marks into exclamation points. Believing that we are strong as one, but extraordinary together. And it's our impact that matters most. What makes a Spartan is what's inside, the commitment to something bigger. Because the world never stops asking, who will? Spartans will.
These days, we have access to unlimited music on our phones, but could vinyl be making a comeback? Focal Point's Kelly Sheridan says the answer may be in Riotown.
Heather Ferrari does something no other woman does.
There's a handful in the country.
In Riotown.
The only one in Michigan, actually.
Between painted walls and power plant smokestacks stands a little red building, Heather's business.
And I own the Record Lounge, which is...
Heather has owned the Record Lounge for 10 years.
I have seen a lot.
And is one of the few women in the country to own a record shop.
Kind of an honor. I wear it like a badge of honor because for so many years it was just a man's game.
She's getting ready for tomorrow, probably her biggest day. her holiday.
Big day for record shops. This is kind of our Christmas, if you will.
Heather says people are going to be lined up down the block tomorrow for World Record Store Day, with some even camping out tonight in preparation.
Ronnie Wildheart is a local musician who feels the record lounge is home.
It makes you feel like you have friends, you know? Yeah.
And for part-time employee Bill Murphy, friends is what it's all about.
A 64-year-old man to a 15-year-old that is wanting to buy the new or old Led Zeppelin. It's engaging, and it's a trip, it's a high, it's just cool to be able to, you know, take your passion and relate it to others.
So while it might be easy to walk in and grab the Blues Brothers album on vinyl today, tomorrow might make your head spin.
It's really neat. It's neat to see the different people that are buying vinyl these days.
Heather hopes she can continue bringing people together.
I think if there was no music in the world, where would we be?
From her tiny shop,
I mean, music is pretty much everything.
In Riotown.
It's always something, and that's what made me passionate about this.
Kelly Sheridan, Focal Point News.
Record Store Day started in 2007 to honor the independent record store owner.
The founder of the Me Too movement visits East Lansing.
Starbucks is making headlines, and not because of a new drink. Gabriella Galloway joins us from the Spartan Newsroom with more. Gabriella?
Caitlin, Angel, tensions are rising in Philadelphia after 2 men were arrested for sitting in a Starbucks without making a purchase. Focal Point's Treasure Roberts has more on the story.
Cups of hot and iced coffee, computers, books, and studying. All parts of this popular coffee shop, along with advertising freshman Jada Flowers.
Say like once a week.
Who now finds herself talking about what happened in a Starbucks several states away.
They're being mistreated. I feel like they may have felt scared for their lives.
While sitting in Starbucks, 2 African-American men were confronted about not making a purchase and were told to leave.
So they're trying to justify it, saying, well, if they're not buying anything, then the business has a right to say, hey, free up those seats for somebody else. But we all know in reality that's garbage.
The men refused to leave. The manager called police. They were handcuffed and arrested.
Starbucks says they've always believed that they can and they should have a positive impact on a community. One person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. But in light of recent incidents, some believe that they haven't served the community in quite a positive manner.
There is no justification for why the police should have been called at all. There was no loud language, there was no anything that would have been perceived as in any way, shape, or form a threat to anyone in that store.
After the video of the arrest went viral, Starbucks announced that they would close 8,000 stores for diversity bias training on May 29th.
But it's not a fix, it's a Band-Aid that's just really more about public relations.
The Starbucks on MSU's campus plans to join the corporate stores in the training with hopes that incidents like this won't happen again. In East Lansing, I'm Treasure Roberts, Focal Point News.
The arrests have led to Starbucks boycotts, but have also opened up discussions about race throughout the country. Me Too founder Tarana Burke spoke on MSU's campus last night as part of the Transformative Justice Speaker Series. Though not invited by the administration, Burke comes at a time of struggle for the community amidst the Nassar scandal. Burke founded the movement in 2006, and it gained a national following after Harvey Weinstein's accusations of assault. Burke stressed that this is a survivor's moment, and including students is an important part of the process.
I think the schools that have been the most successful have had students involved in all parts of that process of designing what, how your school is going to approach sexual violence.
Burke was just named to Time's 100 Most Influential People of 2018. Earth Day is this Sunday. The observation was created 40 years ago by a senator who wanted to draw attention to environmentalism, and Focal Point reporter Chloe Keipel shows us how to be Spartan Green.
A ton of cardboard, and there it all comes.
Actually, it's 2,600 pounds, one of several deliveries to the MSU Recycling Center today.
So we are standing in the Material Recovery Facility, or the MRF for short. And this is where we take all of the recyclables back to be sorted.
I'm sorting out cardboard and like paper bags and stuff like this into this bin, and then down there they sort out like plastic bags and magazines and newspapers.
It's a place that keeps Michigan State green.
And it just saves a lot of volume in landfills.
We all know to reduce, reuse, recycle, but sometimes you're recycling the wrong things. In East Lansing, up to 25% of those items are thrown away.
And sometimes recycling doesn't happen at all.
A barrier sometimes is having the facilities nearby it.
We just got to throw it away, sadly, because I don't even know where the closest recycling bin is.
Some big apartment complexes like the Cedar Village neighborhood,
I don't think they care at all.
don't provide recycling.
But we recycle ourselves.
Cedar Village management says they do provide recycling bins right next to the dumpster.
The recycling bins look very similar to a trash removal bin.
But residents,
I mean, I've never heard of any recycling.
don't seem to know that.
I don't think so.
Or even see them.
They do not provide recycling.
Reality is, in Michigan, 85% of recyclables become garbage. In East Lansing, Chloe Kuiper.
Community members can bring their recyclables to the Michigan State Recycling Center 7 days a week. They accept paper, plastic, glass, old books, and more. It's located on the corner of Service Road and Farm Lane. Looking at the sun safely, studying plants at a distillery, all things connected to the 6th Annual Michigan State Science Festival. With over 250 events happening on campus and throughout the state, the festival hopes to reach audiences and inspire them through science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, and show the importance of them for our future. Events range from a night at the museum, exhibits for kids, to the Science Cafe and Pub Series.
More for the adult crowd where you can enjoy a beverage and the researchers come out of their labs and talk about what they're doing in a fun environment. So we try and say we have something for everybody.
The 17-day festival comes to a close on Sunday, but you can check out the rest of the events at sciencefestival.msu.edu. 70 teams and 600 students from high schools across the state are competing in the 10th annual Quiz Bowl Championship Tournament. The two-day event pits the best of the best against each other in a Jeopardy-style game to see who gets bragging rights for another year. The winning teams go on to the national competition in Atlanta at the end of May. MSU hosted the state tournament for the past 10 years.
So what's been kind of cool about that is it allows us, similar to how Michigan State hosts the state basketball championship every year for high school students, we were able to do that on the academic side.
The campus event hosted by the MSU Honors College continues through Saturday. Beaumont Tower is an icon of the Michigan State campus. You can hear the beautiful bells throughout the day on your walk to class, and this week it was open to students for tours. The University Activities Board lets students in to see the tower's bells and instrument the carillon. The carillon has 49 bells, the biggest is 2.5 tons, and the smallest weighs just 15 pounds. Carillon players bang the levers with their hands, similar to a piano. The tower and its bells were built to promote campus unity. That's what's happening on campus. I'm Gabriella Galloway. Back to you in the studio.
The MSU baseball team took to the diamond in Kalamazoo Wednesday afternoon.
Plus, the men's crew team has its annual state cup tomorrow. Michael Epps joins us from the sports desk with a preview.
That's right, Angel. Spring sports have been affected by Mother Nature this spring. We'll talk about how athletes have handled that and more up next in sports.
There are moments of triumph, of discovery, and achievement. But what makes these moments possible? It's the early mornings, the late nights. It's having the will to persevere. So let's take a moment to celebrate. But more importantly, let's salute the will it takes to get there. Spartans will.
Welcome back to Focal Point. I'm Michael Epps. The Michigan State baseball team has had a tough season so far. Coming off a weekend split with Valparaiso, the Spartans traveled to Kalamazoo Wednesday to take on Western Michigan. And after a back-and-forth battle, it was the green and white emerging victorious, 10-7. The Spartans tied a season high with 15 hits. They improved to 11 and 21 on the season, going into a weekend road trip at Northwestern. Now the Lansing Lugnuts are off to a hot start, even if the fans are freezing. Focal Point's Angel Thompson has the story from Cooley Law Stadium.
What's wrong with this picture?
A summertime game with winter hats, coats, and blankets? The cold weather didn't stop Carol Bartow, husband John, and their friend Larry Johnson from sitting in these cold stands.
This time of year, it's a little iffy. You come out and try to stay as long as you can, but if it's too cold, we'll leave.
It's not supposed to be this way. Wind chills just above freezing in mid-April. Not too many fans want to suffer through it.
Despite cold Michigan temperatures, spring means baseball.
I think that's why you're not seeing very many people tonight. It's cold.
Carol and her family just enjoy being able to watch up-and-coming players with dreams of making it to the pros.
This guy is pitching awfully high.
Carol said they usually leave by the 4th inning because that's about as long as they can stand the cold. But by the 5th inning, Carol and her family couldn't take it anymore. Some people came prepared, bundled in blankets, and for some, the cold didn't bother them at all. Tom Fedewa and his family drove from Grand Rapids to see the Lugnuts play tonight. They came prepared, peering out from under blankets.
Yeah, it's bothering me. I think I'd rather be in the car, but yeah, this is nice baseball weather.
The Lugnuts mascot was able to keep some fans entertained until the end. The Lugnuts hope attendance will pick up once it warms up. With Focal Point, I'm Angel Thompson.
Look cold out there, but weather permitting, the Lugnuts play Game 2 of their 3-game series with South Bend tomorrow night at 7:05. Michigan State men's rowing will take on rivals Ohio State and Grand Valley tomorrow in the State's Cup Regatta. The State Cup is usually a duel with Ohio State, but last week's regatta with Grand Valley was canceled, so they will tag along tomorrow. The boats will launch from Grand River Park at 8:30 with hopes to keep the trophy in their boathouse. These races will get the team ready for the Accra Club Championship in Georgia next month. And that's what's happening in sports. Back to the news desk.
Thanks, Michael. MSU's Jewish community celebrated a beloved mascot this week. Sparty's Bar Mitzvah, the annual event hosted at Club Rush, was a big party put on by the Jewish Student Alliance, Jews of Greek Life, and ASMSU. This year's mitzvah theme was I Love Sparty, a play on I Love New York. With music, dancing, food, and fun, everyone seemed to have a good time, including Sparty himself. This year was extra special.
13 years, so it's actually his bar mitzvah this year. So that's exciting. That's really exciting. I feel like I knew that.
Mazel tov to Sparty on celebrating his step into manhood. Have you ever been to actual bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah?
No, I haven't. I thought those were when you're only 13.
They are, but they are so fun. Some can be super extravagant. And when I went to this one, it was just a riot. It was Throwback Thursday.
Sparty's got to invite me next time.
Yeah, exactly. That's our show for this evening. I'm Caitlin DeLuca.
And I'm Angel Thompson. Thanks for joining us. We leave you now with music from the MSU Concert Orchestra. See you next week.